Welcome to Soulful Connect, where stories transcend the ordinary to touch your heart. Every video is crafted to inspire hope, nurture empathy, and celebrate the triumphs of the human spirit. From acts of kindness to journeys of transformation, these stories remind us of our shared humanity and the power we have to create a better world. Let's dive in and connect through the magic of storytelling. What would you do if your dreams, no matter how passionate and pure, began slipping away? Not because you lacked the drive or ability, but because life had placed insurmountable obstacles in your path? This is the story of Emily, a bright young girl from a small town, whose future seemed destined to fade into the shadows of hardship. But her life took a profound turn when one teacher, through a quiet and selfless act, illuminated her path and reignited her hope. This is not just Emily's story, it's a story about the transformative power of kindness, resilience, and generosity. In their small and humble home in Willowbrook, Emily's mother worked tirelessly. Linda was a seamstress, spending countless hours hunched over her sewing machine, stitching together clothes for their neighbors. The clinking of the needle against the fabric was a constant backdrop in their tiny home. For Emily, these sounds were both comforting and haunting, a reminder of her mother's unyielding dedication and the heavy burden their family carried. Sitting at the kitchen table, Emily flipped through her worn-out school books. She wasn't just studying, she was holding on to a dream. She knew the sacrifices her mother was making, but the weight of knowing that even her best efforts might not be enough to keep her in school was almost unbearable. As much as Emily tried to focus on her homework, the worry etched on her mother's face was a constant distraction, and with each passing day, the dream of school felt more like a distant memory. At Willowbrook Elementary, Emily's absence was a glaring void in an otherwise vibrant classroom. The sunlight streaming through the windows illuminated rows of wooden desks, all filled with eager students, except for one. Her empty desk was like a missing piece of a puzzle, and no one felt this more than Mr. Harris, her teacher. With over 2 decades of teaching experience, Mr. Harris had developed a keen understanding of his students, not just as learners, but as individuals with dreams, struggles, and stories. Emily's story, he knew, was one of quiet brilliance and unyielding determination. Seeing her desk empty, he couldn't shake the feeling that something was terribly wrong. This wasn't just about one student missing class. It was about a spark of potential at risk of being extinguished. That evening, after his classes were done and the school hallways had emptied, Mr. Harris sat alone in his modest home office. The room was small, its shelves lined with books, and the light of a single desk lamp illuminated the space. He pulled out his wallet and stared at the few bills inside. As a teacher, his salary had always been modest, barely enough to cover his own needs. But tonight, as he thought about Emily and the future she deserved, the decision was clear. He gathered his savings, a small sum he had been setting aside for emergencies, and resolved to quietly pay Emily's school fees. It wasn't a grand gesture, it was simply the right thing to do. With no intention of seeking recognition or gratitude, he made arrangements the next morning, ensuring that Emily would never know where the help had come from. His only hope was that this small act would allow her to continue chasing her dreams. With her school fees paid, Emily returned to class, unaware of the sacrifice that had been made on her behalf. For her, this was a second chance, and she was determined to make the most of it. She poured herself into her studies with unrelenting focus and passion. Late nights in the school library became her norm, where she lost herself in books that opened windows to worlds she never knew existed. In class, her hand was always the first to shoot up, eager to answer questions and learn more. Her determination didn't just go unnoticed, it became an inspiration to her peers and teachers. By the end of the year, Emily had emerged as one of the brightest stars at Willowbrook Elementary, her potential shining more brilliantly than ever. Years passed and Emily stood at the pinnacle of success. As a software engineer in a bustling city, she was admired for her intelligence, resilience, and humility. She often reflected on the winding road that had brought her here, the challenges her family faced, the nights she spent studying by lamplight, and the unspoken support of her community. But more than anything, her thoughts returned to Mr. Harris, the teacher whose belief in her had set everything in motion. No matter how far she went or how much she achieved, her heart always carried gratitude for the quiet sacrifice that had shaped her future. One summer, Emily decided to return to Willowbrook. The small town looked much the same as it always had, its streets lined with familiar houses and faces. But this time, Emily wasn't just coming back to visit. She was coming to give thanks. She made her way to Mr. Harris's modest home and found him tending to his garden. The sight of him, his hands carefully nurturing the plants, brought a wave of emotion over her. As she approached, he looked up, his face lighting up with recognition and pride. For both of them, the years melted away in that moment. They shared a connection built on kindness, gratitude, and an unspoken understanding of the profound impact one person can have on another's life. In honor of Mr. Harris, Emily created the Harris Scholarship Fund, ensuring that no child in Willowbrook would have to abandon their education due to financial hardship. At the launch ceremony, families and students gathered to celebrate this new beacon of hope. The fund wasn't just about financial support. It was a symbol of the power of belief, generosity, and the enduring impact of one teacher's quiet act of kindness. Over the years, the scholarship transformed countless lives, creating a ripple effect of opportunity and change that spread far beyond Willowbrook. The Harris Scholarship Fund became a legacy, proving that even the smallest acts of kindness can ignite a chain reaction that touches generations. In the quiet town of Willowbrook, the ripple of kindness that began with one teacher continued to inspire and uplift countless lives. It was a testament to the fact that true generosity doesn't just change one life, it creates a legacy that lasts forever. From this story, there are 3 lessons can be learned that we can apply in our daily life. Lesson 1. One act of kindness can change lives. Mr. Harris's quiet sacrifice reminds us that even the smallest acts of kindness can ignite a chain reaction of hope and change. Each of us has the power to transform lives with a single gesture. A simple act of helping someone in need can inspire them to carry forward that kindness, creating a ripple effect that extends far beyond what we can imagine. Lesson 2. Education is the key to breaking barriers. Education is more than just learning. It's the foundation for breaking cycles of poverty and unlocking potential. By supporting education, we invest in a future full of possibilities. Emily's journey from a struggling student to a successful professional is a testament to the power of education and the opportunities it creates to rewrite life stories. Lesson 3. Generosity builds legacies. Generosity isn't about recognition, it's about creating opportunities for others to thrive. Mr. Harris's sacrifice planted a seed that grew into a legacy of hope, touching countless lives. The Harris Scholarship Fund stands as a powerful reminder that true generosity doesn't just change one life. It creates an enduring legacy that shapes communities and generations. Stories like Emily's remind us of the incredible power of kindness, education, and hope. If this story inspired you, share it with someone who values generosity, like it to spread the message, and subscribe to our channel for more uplifting stories. Together, we can create a world where kindness builds legacies.